Hey guys, how's it going? This is JD, the mobile trader. Tonight is Monday, February 24th at 7:58 p.m. Central Time. We're just coming off of one of the biggest sell-offs in recent memory. The Dow was down over 1,000 handles today. Coronavirus fears, other things, but let's take a look at the quick charts right now. We're looking at the Dow. Um, if I draw this out quickly, we ran into a double top, guys. I mean that's just part of the game. But who knew we were going to sell off like this? There was a big time gap down. We can always expect this gap to be filled. So we don't. I don't know where this is going to end. But we do have support at the level of 20. Let's see, right at 27,797.05, and we're not that far away from it. But the futures are showing a bump of like 200 points, so it might bounce, which is the thing is the term is called a dead cat bounce. We might bounce off. Look at the bottom down here at the RSI. We might bounce off the lows and pop just a little bit. And if we pick up steam and buyers come back in, might have a green day, but you never know how it's going to turn out. But we'll just kind of watch this overnight. Keep an eye on the futures. But what we're doing today, we're going to break down some stocks for some investors who sent in the names of some companies with the BSI group on Facebook. First one's going to be MELI, Mercado Libre. Down 62 today. A tough run for Mercado Libre, but it's a big mover. It's a fast mover. This is the yearly chart right now, the daily chart over the past year, but I'm going to go to a 3-year weekly outlook. That'll give me a better view. Been in a prolonged uptrend but we had a pullback in August. Found a little bit of a base and also support if we look to the left. Always look to the left when you want to see the history of a price action. Found support in there, but created a little base and even a cup and handle, if you want to call it that, which is what it is actually. But right now, we're seeing the results of a total market pullback. But the thing is, a doji was created on the 17th, which was last week. And this particular week right now is a result. I mean, there was a trend change coming, a possible pullback, but the support level that I see right now, the 657.39 range, even down to the support is right in this area, guys. This is for Renee. Even 611, but Mercado moves. I mean, it's a big time mover. I want to see the ATR. I always check the ATR, guys. MELI. ATR to the right on this stands for average true range. It moves over $28 per day. So making a run to those levels and bouncing back is not that tough. Now on February 11th, Citigroup downgraded them from a buy to a neutral, but it's an e-commerce site and it's an emerging market or Latin American market. So we'll just kind of you're gonna have to watch the global economics behind if you're going long Mercado Libre, and also it's going to be a political stimulus or a catalyst that could really drive this. Maybe a new trade agreement with Mexico, which we signed, but also any border issues that's going on with the current regime is gonna possibly affect this one. But let's see, Credit Suisse lifts Mercado Libre to 760 from 750. So from that standpoint, I'm not an analyst guy, but you do have to take a look at it because their words do affect the layout or the landscape of a price targets from that. But let's take a look at the daily chart. I said 657 was support. We go a little closer right here. I'm looking at the lower, so I'm looking over here, right in this area where buyers and sellers kind of met and kind of had some consolidation. Now, I don't know you don't want to go to 590, but if you like it at 673, always remember 590 is you should love it down there. That's where really some heavy buyers are waiting in that area. But your most recent level of support will be at the 652, 650 handle. So that's a possibility. If you're going long, if you're looking long term, you go ahead and continue with your program, whether you're dollar cost averaging or uh, every couple of months, whatever routine you're doing. But I I see some weakness in this with heavy volume to the downside, selling pressure, and I do see a continued pullback. But the thing about Mercado that they can pop off of news quickly, but there might be another buying opportunity at a discount for you down at that even 604. So I don't know where the bottom is right now. It's going to have to prove itself, and it seems like in the recent times when it has sold off, it's found support right here at the 650 handle. So kind of look for 650 to be your area of that line in the sand. If it falls below that, it's going to run down a little bit more into the closer to 600. Hope this helps right there. I don't know. Let's look at the option chain real quick. They're always kind of overpriced from what I checked. But if you're going to go long and long term, I would go at least 18 days out, minimum 14 to 30. But they're going to be a little pricey, yeah. The in the monies at the 50 delta, you're going to pay 2,800 or close to 3,000 for that. So you might as well buy the stock. So we'll move on to the next one. Hope that helps, Renee. We're doing Square. Let's take a look at Square. I like that sector that Square's in. We're on the daily chart right now. Let's go to the weekly. I'm going to remove this. Had some previous price levels. Well, Square was only down 328 today in a market where everyone was down. But Square has run into, on the weekly, has run into some supply, overhead supply. It's kind of bumping its head at the resistance levels that have kind of had these out here for a while. But 80.49, 80.50. If we look here on the weekly chart, it tried to poke its head up above that resistance and kind of failed, but it failed with positive momentum. We're at the tops of this channel or the trading range. Expect a continued pullback possibly, and there's support at 75. Let me see here. Let's go to the daily chart. We look over to the left on the screen where my cursor is on the, what date is that? August 1st, closed with a doji. A doji means indecision in the market, where the bulls and the bears did not have they were kind of just struggling. It was a tie basically that day. I'll show you real quick. These are different types of dojis. Basically where it shows no price action, it just right almost in the middle. It can be a little thicker like that sometimes, or you'll see a little bit of a body, but it's mostly going to be wicks. Gravestone doji, rickshaw man, whatever you want to call it. You just have to identify the fact that there was no winner that day, whether even if it's red or green. It was indecision in the marketplace, and then the next day there was a huge gap down, huge sell-off. So let's back out just a little bit so I can get a feel for this. Now this gap right here was closed. When I say closed, gap down, we trended, trading range, broke out, failed, tested that height again, and then it continued the powerful move upward. So we're in a recovery and an upward trend right now. and it showed the ability to break through the 8049 handle, but it failed. It just couldn't stay above it. So when it broke through, it actually showed that became support. And today it was really, it tried to battle. It was very close to bouncing back. So support is very close right here. 74.96. Let me pull up the ATR on Square. Moving kind of slow. Here we go. Technology, internet, software, but payment, that it's going to compete against probably PayPal, even Apple Pay. But we're looking over to the right. Average true range, $3.15. So it's not a high flyer, but it definitely will move throughout the day. A lot of upgrades, positive, outperform, overweight, buy, Salesforce, Square earnings. Now, we need to talk about earnings, because earnings from Mercado Libre and Square are coming up this week. Here we go. Square earnings are on the 26th after the market closes, guys. So, and pay attention to the conference call. That's when they'll give guidance. But it's a bullish trend. I think it'll find support right here. If you're looking long term, it's definitely a sector to be in, and it's worth continued consideration. Now, the only thing, it's down, but it needs to continually test that $80.50 handle, and if it breaks through, you can probably get a nice run. But the overall market will be key. If our broader markets continue to pull back, it's going to have to fight against the entire market. So just keep an eye on that. And we'll go to the next one. Well, let me look at a couple of options real quick. The option chain on Square, because I think I remember those options were fairly reasonably priced. When you do it, you want to buy time. You want to give yourself enough time for it to take place. And I think in this type of market, you need at least, I was saying 14 days, but 25 to 30 days is a good amount to let something, let a market cycle within the big market cycle kind of work its way around. Let's look at if we look at a 60 delta, you're looking at $690 to come in at that strike, at the 77.50 strike. If we go down to a 50 delta, 555. I really don't think you should go any lower than one strike out of the money if you're going to go with. I mean, that 80 call is something, but I wouldn't say get in it right now. We need to let this shake out. It's really hadn't picked a direction. And I bet that on the hourly going into the close, it made a nice run today, probably. And let's see, yeah. Popped, sold off, and had a nice run into the close, and trying to pick up a little bit of volume. Actually, went in with volume. So you might get a pop to fill this gap. And I don't know if it's going to test it, but if the broader markets are positive, you might get a green day tomorrow. So it might be a setup for a swing trade. Okay, that was for Tamika Lassiter. Okay, next one is going to be Beyond Meat for Star Relaford. Go to the daily on Beyond Meat. Okay, Beyond Meat is bouncing back. That's the first thing I see. This was a high flyer. It popped, had a gap up, and during this time, we're like, oh man, this is overbought. It can't go any higher. It's overbought. It has to sell off. It hit that peak, sold off, and found support above even the other kind of the mid range. It didn't pull back further than we expected. So found support and made another run. Then this was the real kind of peek. If we just talked about dojis, that looks like, was it cavalry? Cavalry, excuse me. Boy, I should have said that properly. Anyway, that's a key doji right there. That's the sell-off. Anyway, guys, the Beyond Meat is trying to find support, and it has found it. The 77.88, I marked that a while back, but it kind of price kind of hung out on that for a good period of time from November of 2019 until we had a base breakout at the first of the year. And that's what this is called. Well, it formed a base, and the wider the base, the stronger the breakout is. I mean, it could have gone. Basically, the bulls and the bears were in agreement that this is fair price. We're at fair price, and finally, a bullish pop to the upside on the 7th of January, a light pullback, and just a continuation. This is a strong bull move. Now, I always check the RSI, had the sell-off, but the sell-off did not even, it barely dipped into the bull run that began. So that it's pretty much a bull flag. Right now we're in a trading range. We had some double tops right here, right there, and pulled back to a sell-off, but found support again. So 105 is an area of support. Let's see what else. Closed at 113. Let's see what's the low right here? At 109. If you can get, it's going to have to close this mini gap right here. Okay, if you guys take a look. This is a gap down. There's no price action from the close of this particular candle to the open of this. Candles should overlap. When there's a gap, the consensus statement or the cliche statement or the old wives' tale is all gaps must be filled over time. Well, this one's going to be filled, but it's like I said before, the broader market is going to be key. But I don't see an issue with this. I don't think this is a bear trend coming into Beyond Meat right now. I think Beyond Meat is still in a bullish run, but it's in a light trading range, and we're at the bottom of that one part of the trading range right now. Let's see. I can't do it. Let me just go with this one. With the trading range, what I'm talking about is you get taps. You can create a trend line and price kind of, I don't have a problem with it, with the little heads poking out of it, but let me draw that out. So we go up, test the limit, comes back, finds a little bit of support here, goes up, tests this area, finds resistance, sells off a little bit, hangs out and taps that trend line again, finds resistance, sells off, the bears come in, they run it down to this level, a little bit lower. You can overlap on a trend line basically, or a trading range. Finds a little bit of support, runs up, taps it again, taps that resistance bar, which is the market, the area is 128.95, sells off, finds support right here at the 108.65 handle. Keep an eye on that. This is a line in the sand for you. If it falls below this, your next level of support, because there's a gap, a light gap here. It might need to close that, but you'll have some support at the 96. But I really think that Beyond has a chance if you get a catalyst going, any type of news that pops out, and it's all contingent upon the broader markets. But there's also news about another competitor entering the market. Shares were down. I think that's going to boost that sector. That can be a positive. Competition breeds, just a lot of press. So I wouldn't look at Cargill hopping into the market is something that's going to knock these guys down, or it's another competitor. So I like Beyond Meat. It's kind of establishing itself. It's in a little bit of a trading range right now, so it could easily break down if the broader markets pull it back and a negative catalyst. So if you're going long term, ease your way in. If you're going to trade it, it's a high flyer for me. I haven't traded it. And I would not trade this right now. I don't have a definitive setup in place. And let's see, Beyond Meat. I'm giving it even 25 days. I would rather 14 days if I'm going to try to trade it. But it's all. I mean, look at the implied volatility, 104, 104. And there's just always overpriced. But if you catch a run and it gets some good news, this can be a momentum stock that you can ride. You can ride it. You can catch it and run with it. So, but that's a gamble. If you're going to invest, get up on your news and make sure this finds support right in this area, or we find a little bit more support right here at the 96.50 handle. Okay, next one. To Shyla Butler, you sent in 4. I have time for TOCA right now. Let's see, did I put TOCA in there? But we're gonna put it now. Okay, now this is I don't really mess with penny stocks, but Tokagen Inc. Let's see what they are. TOCA. What is TOCA? On the NASDAQ. Healthcare. Oh, biotech. Okay. Little downgrades in September, but this might fall right into Corona. I'm thinking, let's see. Oh, heroin, pain drug. Disappointment for Teva. Tokagen and Forte Bioscience announced merger. Okay, TOCA and Forte, they've merged. The stock that tanked 94%. Trying to get news. It's going to be key. Transaction created. Come on now. Transaction created. Blah blah blah. Privately held clinical pharmaceutical developing a live biotherapeutic for the treatment of investor. Think about the biotechs. News is key. Positive news are always a catalyst for them. Power downtrend right there. And think about the penny stocks. One big order, a huge purchase order can move it. They can be pumped and dumped. But right now, it's severely overbought. I'm not saying it's going to sell off right now, but it's going to sell off. I don't know where it's going to stop. But a trader would short it off the tops. But be careful for your pullback. If you're long, if you're trying to get in, get out, this looks like the run up to a pump and a possible dump. So, not trying to rhyme, but I do have skills. But anyway, let's go a little bit deeper. 10 days. Over the last 10 days, here's where the pump began. On Friday last week. And what was the open? Open at 84 cents. Yeah. If you're in this, Tashyla, you might want to start taking some profits. Now, consider that. Now, it could run up another $1.50, but if you're in there for a significant amount, you've had a nice run from 80 something cents to $2. Just consider that and see what TOCA said. What they say about TOCA on here. TOCA. Gain jumping 111% on Friday. think about taking your profits. Okay, that's just or consider looking for news, or go to your chat rooms to see if anybody, if on Stock Twitch or on Reddit, if they're talking about a dump in TOCA or whatever. And we have also China JoJo. You have CJJD on here. Uh, it popped 12.9% to 202 following an increase in the number of coronavirus cases. Let's go here because the lines have been unreal overseas, hours long. And that's the Friday pop, the Selloff, and it found support. So depending on what the virus does or what the news is overseas, but the thing about it, today was the day to be green. It was only up 1 cent. It was so the money was made last Friday. I don't know how to play this one. I just it's a small. All the sell volume came in oversold, but it is down. It's not overbought now. I say oversold, but it was overbought. Selling off. It's not oversold. You're gonna have to watch the overseas market. I would have thought this would have been green today as well too. So, but no one's going to the drugstores over there. No one's going out. Earnings on the 4th. We're on the 14th. Well, it's kind of tough. I don't really like the penny stocks, but this is going to be that coronavirus, and it can go off a mania. That's pretty much all I have for you, Tashyla. I like TOCA to just from the standpoint of taking your profits, and the China JoJo drugstores, I would think they would have been green today. So I appreciate that. Now, guys, next move we're doing right now before I get off, we're going to look at space. I hopped into space today. Actually, I was in space Friday, and I was short. I got in like 35. It popped, sold off, and rode the trend line of 33.50. Bam, sold off again, found support. Now the areas of 29.15 was really the support area, and I went long after it sold off this morning. I got out of my shorts, out of my puts, went long, pulled back, and we're going into earnings. And thing about it, I'm going off the fact that I was thinking the sell-off was going to go lower and longer, but the fact that the bulls hopped in when it tapped 29.15, and they saw that level of because that was the last little spot on the chart where this area, before the huge run up and the rollover, that was a big candle, and that ended. The high was 28.79. The bulls, it came down to 29.15, and the bulls bought it right back up. I believe that the bullish mania is about to come back in, and any piece of good news, they're going to buy the moves up, because if it had really, really sold off, it was supposed to go down to 20. It should have gone down to 20 and found support down there. So I'm still long, and if I get in there tomorrow and I get a pullback, I will add to my long position, and I'll consider holding it into earnings. At least one of mine, and that's a gamble, but I'm long the stock, and I'm also with the warrants, guys. I'm trying to get a good look at this. That 29.15 handle was that. If 33.50, if we pull back also, it might fall below 33.50, but keep 33.50 in mind. If we find support at 33.50 and start to move a little bit, there's a chance to we're gonna go make a nice little run. Just give me a second, guys. The bull flags in play. Well, space is going to be all momentum tomorrow, and I think the board is going to speak. You'll have Branson, and you'll have I think Chalmers. I can't pronounce his name. I need to work on that, and they will speak. So it comes at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. 4 p.m. Central. Earnings call. Earnings will be released right after the market closes tomorrow, which is Tuesday the 25th. So keep an eye on that, and just be prepared. We don't know which way it's going to open. It could sell off at the open and find support, which I really think it will. I'm thinking 33.50, but the other support level is the 30.50 handle, and if it finds support there, I will go long again. I'll add to my position, but if it dumps a little bit more, I'll consider stepping out and taking the L. Well, guys, that's pretty much it for tonight. I went kind of long, but keep your eyes open, eyes peeled, and it looks like we might bounce a little bit in the morning. So, all right, I appreciate you checking it out. Take care.